Ahoy there, and welcome back to DohMance Dawn. I'm Luke, he, him, sometimes they, them, and I am joined once again by my lesbian co host.
Hello, I am Janine. My pronouns are she, they, and yeah, my voice is going to be doing this the whole time.
Now, we don't like to have to do the pledge drive here 4 times a year, but before we can get to you that DohMance Dawn content that you like, we just want to let you know if you send us $20, we will send you a tote.
Do we have a tote?
I don't know, I feel like we could probably get Mike to do a tote. I just felt like that intro, I was using my public radio voice.
It definitely took me there.
Thank you.
It took
I
me to a better show.
This week on This Pirate Life, Luffy, the gum gum fruit. Did he actually eat it, or did it eat him?
You know, at this point, a gun ate a fruit and became a dog. I'm not gonna rule anything out.
And I took a big old bath in brother juice.
Don't call. Oh, just. It's just so weird when you call it brother juice. Just tell them that it's a bath bomb already.
Yeah, so if you're unaware, Lush, and this is not just a Japan exclusive, has a line of 4 one-piece bath bombs and also a bath bar and also a handkerchief thing that I wasn't able to get. But yeah, I'm slowly going through those because it's November, it's Luke's birthday month as well as Janine's birthday month, and I decided to treat myself. So tonight I used the Flame Fruit bath bomb and just sat in a big old pool of brother juice. It's an awful phrase.
It is an awful phrase. I don't know. I think the worst part about you taking a bath now is that you have time to meditate and contemplate the worst two words you could put together that eventually led you to brother juice.
You know, it's nothing like a bunch of Luffy's brother juice.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Well,
all
you
right.
go visit Lush if you too desire that himbo bathwater.
Yeah, it kind of has a like curryish smell to it. Like I'm not entirely sure. It's not quite earthy. It just has a bit of a piquantness, and also it turns orange and then red. I also did the flower fruit and 8 legs, 7 vaginas.
See, you can't really even say that you like got me to walk into that one because you just like threw it out there.
I mean, I did get you to walk into it on the Discord. We have a DohMance Dawn Discord now, which if you would like to join and participate in shenanigans, it's not super active since there's only like 6 of us, but we have a good time. Um,
You
just
can be
like,
able to get like more of this that we have, Luke and I,
mhm.
where Luke just says crazy things that are also true because it's an anime, and I react like a rational person, usually gawking and guffawing,
Mhm.
mostly guffawing.
Oh, I did get a Rodrigo update, and Rodrigo did go and see the new One Piece Red movie, and
Yeah.
said that it was very good, and also it makes him want to go and watch more One Piece to understand everything, because there's like 20 plus years of continuity that get like boiled down into that movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang, this is actually like Luke's entire plan is to get people to watch more One Piece.
I mean, yeah, I was talking about One Piece on the family call last week because I talk with my parents and siblings every week for for almost a year now. Yeah, my dad was like, "Well, it can't be good if it's been running for so long." And it's like, Dad, you're a psychologist. You are a very smart man. You somehow inexplicably really just love Rick and Morty. You love that like totally rude humor, but you don't understand the manga marketplace. If it wasn't worth continuing, it would be canceled.
Let's be honest. If it was worth holding on to, there's also still a chance it could be canceled.
I mean, yes. I mean, how familiar are you with how Shonen Jump works?
Um, well, from what I understand, is that they get all of the popular characters and make them fight in a fighting game. Other than that, I don't know. I think like they do a magazine or something that's in Barnes and Noble.
Mm-hmm. So it is a weekly manga anthology, and in Japan, where the votes are more important, you basically get to write in, I believe it's your top 5 mangas, and if you like aren't in the top 15, you are pretty much on the cutting block.
Damn.
Yeah, so there is a point where you kind of reach not quite immortality, like as long as it keeps being good, but I have a hard time seeing One Piece. I guess needing it is hard to see One Piece nosediving so bad that it would be on the cutting block. But yeah, there's like a point where if you're making enough money, they'll just keep you going, even if you aren't the most popular. But yeah, it's fascinating. Uh, read Bakuman. It is also a really interesting piece. You can get that on the Viz app, where you can just read 100 chapters of manga a day for $2 a month. It is a fucking amazing deal.
Wow. And
Mm-hmm.
knowing you, who has scoured through a lot of stuff for research before, I can see that you have probably reached that limit a couple of times.
I was unemployed last year, Janine. Yes, I did. It was like, oh, I want to get done reading Yu-Gi-Oh, and I had to wait 24 hours for my chapters to reset. If you don't want to have to read Yu-Gi-Oh across multiple days, I went on Chris's podcast. He was on a few episodes ago, and I summarized the 3 main series plus Yu-Gi-Oh R of the original Yu-Gi-Oh run in under 2 hours. Uh, Not that he specifically asked me to, but now it's just tradition. But Janine, you know what? What do we do on this podcast?
Well, you get me to watch One Piece, and then we sit down and cast characters that have been named or are prominent inside of the episode with characters that have been named or are prominent inside of episodes of The Simpsons, but only up to the exact general area of the air dates
Mm-hmm.
um, of when the One Piece episodes has been released. Anything that had aired in The Simpsons previous to that is fair game. Anything that is after that is something that we paw at forever, thinking, uh, Sexy Cat Marge would have been perfect for like that one character all those episodes back.
Yeah, but I mean, the good news is there's always more room for Sexy Cat Marge.
That's true. We have a Sexy Cat Marge countdown going.
Mm-hmm.
or did we already pass it?
No, we haven't gotten to that. I believe we are going to get to that in, if not the next episode, the one after that.
All right, then here
Because,
we go. It's Sexy
because,
Cat Marge Watch.
dun 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 dun. Rawr. Yeah, these episodes initially ran in Japan between May 19th and July 21st of the year 2002. There was only two Simpsons episodes that ran during this time. There was the frying game, where Homer kills the Screamer Pillar and the entire family has to take care of an old lady. And then it turned out that it was all a reality show setup. And Papa's got a brand new badge where Homer sets up a home security team. And they're more of just kind of like all right episodes. I think the frying game is kind of more forgettable out of the two. Like Papa's got a brand new badge has some good bits like thank you Spring Shield, but it's also kind of a redo of the Homer the Vigilante episode, at least in premise.
I do believe, though, that the Screamer Pillar is very much beloved because of how difficult it is to keep alive. There was a resurgence for a little bit of people who identified with it, tagging pictures of the Screamer Pillar with hashtag it me.
I mean, big mood. Along with these Scream Pillar, additional characters include Carmen Electra, Mr. Jingles, Michael Clark Duncan type, and Arthur Fonzarelli, along with others.
I feel like Arthur Fonzarelli would have definitely been one that we could have used. Like, I feel like that would have been such a Conan bit that, like, it seems weird that we're just getting that access now.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's just a really weird thing because the whole bit is the school is one of the only places with air conditioning, and so Mrs. Krabappel's like, I'm seeing students we haven't seen for years. And that includes the Fonz,
Which is
amongst others.
okay. Well, that is something to think about because we have Arthur Fonzarelli as Arthur Fonzarelli, not Henry Winkler.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're different because we've also had a character voiced by Henry Winkler.
But it wasn't Arthur Fonzarelli.
Correct.
I feel like they missed an opportunity here.
I mean, I think it would be harder to get him back for just coming back for one line as the Fonz.
I mean, it's got to be cheaper from like compared to like the more lines that they gave him then, but I don't know if anybody would. No, there have been people in animation who have had only one line in animation to walk on just for the appearance.
Mm-hmm. It, I think it really depends on what they're willing to do and what their schedule's like. This would have been like 2002, so I don't think we had really got into the full Bond's resurgence. We were still reckoning with 9/11 and the start of the Afghanistan war, and it was a different time.
Were we still doing the I Love the Blanks things on VH1?
Uh,
Because I feel like he would have been in those.
I don't. So
Like
it,
specifically the I Love the 70s.
yeah. So I'm trying to determine which one because I love the 70s. So okay, I love the 80s was the first one, and then I love the 70s. I love the 80s ran initially December of 2002, so this would have been pre that. So this would have been like prime Gary Coleman nostalgia era.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm. Because I think Happy Days was still running on like Nickelodeon at the point where it's like, oh, this is my reminder that I should just switch from the TV Land era to Cartoon Network or Comedy Central.
What do we do on this podcast?
Well, this week we are going to be covering episodes 112 through 119 of One Piece. And yeah, sorry for the weird energy for this one. I've been soaking in brother juice.
Oh my god.
Titles include Rebel Army vs. Royal Army. The battle will be in Alubarna.
Alubarna is crying. Fierce fight of Captain Karu.
Swear on your crewmate's dream. Battle at Mole Hill, 4th Avenue.
Today's grand performance. Mane Mane montage. Or clone montage.
Transforming into Nami, Bon Clay's hard-hitting ballet Kinpo.
Nami's whirlwind warning. Climatact explosion.
Secret of the royal family, the ancient weapon Pluton.
Essence of a mighty sword. The power to cut steel. The breath of all things.
Yeah, it's just the fun reminder that, oh, right, they used the Japanese names of the fruits instead of translating them. Which I guess is fair, kind of. So, Janine, congratulations on finally shipping Nami and Vivi.
Listen, I wasn't opposed to it. I just needed context in the show. And then episode 118 happened, and I'm like, oh, this is more than enough. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, like, you can go back and probably find a montage of, like, Vivi's really at Nami's side in the bed when she's sick.
Yeah, there's a couple things, and honestly, this episode does half the AMV for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it hits as hard in the manga, but yeah, no, I totally, I will support that pairing.
Nami, Vivi, Girl in Red AMV. Somebody make it or somebody find it, and then you send it to me so I can be able to look at it, because I don't know how to make an AMV without Windows Movie Maker, and I'm not gonna try to do that again.
As the armies prepare to clash, tensions are high across all 8 entryways into the capital, Alubarna. The members of Baroque Works spot the Straw Hats as they approach on the docks, but the pirates are covered, so the officer agents can't see them, causing the officer agents to split up to catch them as the Straw Hats split up. Mr. 1 and Miss Doublefinger catch Nami and Zoro. Mr. 4 and Miss Merry Christmas catch Chopper and Sanji. Mr. 2 catches Usopp and Eyelash, and Vivi held back on Karu to try and catch the Rebel Army. But unfortunately, the Rebel Army can't see past a cannon blast shot by a disguised Baroque Works agent, and Vivi is almost trampled by the army, until Karu saves her at the cost of his own body. The rebels begin their fight with the royal army, while Usopp shows up to pick her up on horseback, but Vivi is suspicious when Usopp callously disregards the now injured Karu, and she asks him to prove himself. He reveals that he has a bandage on his arm. Elsewhere, Sanji finds Usopp and Eyelash, who were defeated by Mr. 2 Bon Clay, who also stole Usopp's goggles and left the defeated and pathetic Usopp behind. It's so damn good! Also, that's me running my English One Piece narrator voice.
I like it.
We find out that Zoro had decided to make a double blind test where underneath the bandages they also had X marks on their arm that they needed to see, and Vivi's suspicions were confirmed. The Usopp that came was actually Mr. 2, Bon Clay, who started chasing her towards the city. Karu decided to try running up the sheer cliffside and did everything he could to get her to the top, even trying to fly. And he succeeded because of his dedication to his friends. Once again, it's a beautiful, touching moment. Like, I love that Mr. 2 is even emotionally invested in this.
To be honest, I can't help but really kind of root for Mr. 2 Bon Clay just for just the strange amount of just queer but also chaotic energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like what Mr. 2 Bon Clay cares about like is just so weird and fickle, and we're friends with these people and we're like, it's a shame I gotta kill them, but then it's like getting like involved with their shit, and it's like, damn.
Like, he honestly would have been perfectly happy if they were just friends who he met and then maybe never saw again. And the fact that he has to actively work to fight them, he still takes pride in what he does. But yeah, no, he kind of wants to see them succeed equally. It's wonderful. He is kind of like the, if you had a, instead of lawful, neutral, and good and evil alignment chart, and had like queer and straight, I think he would be on chaos queer compared to like a Mystique who was on like lawful queer. Not lawful like she obeys the law, but just very much has a code and is
Very
more
much about
reserved.
like the order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. um I love it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like, it's very easy to put characters who are inside of that higher position inside of like a trader role, or in a role where they're like working on their own agenda.
Mm-hmm.
But to have no other agenda and find one, that's that's fun. I love it.
Oh, Enclave is beautiful and wonderful. So of course, sees Karu, after he sees Karu struggle so much, he immediately runs up and does the same thing, reaching the top of the cliff. Vivi stumbles directly between the fighting armies and Karu gets shot, but he continues to fight through the pain as Mr. 2 follows closely behind until Karu collapses. That is when the other Supersonic Duck Squad members intercept Mr. 2, followed by Sanji, who squares off with him. That way, the Ducks can save Karu and Vivi. It's like total banana hours here. It's wonderful.
They didn't need to put so much characterization in Karu, but when he's there on the edge trying to get over, you can't help but want to Mighty Ducks quack along.
You are invested in this giant duck. Meanwhile, Chopper is facing off against Mr. Four, a batter, and Miss Merry Christmas, who has the power of the Momo fruit, and their third member, Lasso, a gun who ate a Dash Hound model Mud Mutt fruit.
It's weird. And
Oh.
and the thing is, it's like I imagine there's something specific about it being a mutt fruit that's why it doesn't look completely like one. I don't know. It's weird. A gun ate it,
Uh-huh.
and
You
just as much as you completely walked past it when I was like, "What the fuck," the show walks right past it because um it's trying to kill you.
Oh yeah. They're just like, you haven't heard there's a new technique. And it's just like, oh, of course. That makes sense. That's why the gun turned into a dog.
Like Also, just the idea that this was gonna benefit, like what a called shot just to be like, we have this gun, the special gun, you load the fruit in it and you think you're going to shoot it, but really that counts as eating, so that gun becomes a thing. Okay, what are some cool things that you can be able to make also a gun? Bird, something a little bit much more lively than not only a dog, but a dachshund, the long little doggy.
Hmm. And also, this dog is now sick and dealing with a cold.
Like, is
This,
that just like a thing that was going on that day, or just like the condition of it to be alive?
I think it's just it happened that day. Uh, Also, do you love just how Miss Merry Christmas's powers do not align with any expectations that you
Absolutely none.
had? In
It's nowhere near Christmas. I feel like they just gave her the name as a joke. Having Miss Groundhog Day is makes a lot much more fucking sense, man.
That's what she is in the Four Kids dub, partially to avoid the religion part. Like they just change the color of her tie and everything. But also, I think it's just hilarious because I don't think Groundhog Day is something that really exists in Japan or is known about. It's wonderful because you just like look and it's what are the most important holidays, and it's Double Finger, which is New Year's, Bon Carré, which is a festival, Golden Week, which is essentially spring break, Christmas, and then Valentine's Day.
You think they just didn't go with the Halloween because it would have just been like too easy or too like overdone already? I don't know.
Halloween is still one of those things that wasn't super big in Japan. Like, I know from reading Magu-chan, God of Destruction. And I'm looking for my buddy. Where's my Magu-chan at? There he is. The Japanese tiny plush figure that I paid like $40 to get. As I know from Magu-chan, Halloween isn't really as big of a thing in Japan. It's kind of like a weird esoteric holiday, like when Americans will celebrate Guy Fawkes Day.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, Usopp ends up meeting up with Chopper, who gives him the rundown on the situation. Lasso the dog shoots explosive time bomb baseballs, and Mr. Four hits with his bat while Miss Merry Christmas loads the field with mole holes. Usopp tries to escape, but underestimates the explosions. Chopper tries to knock out Mr. Four, but Miss Merry Christmas stops him. Usopp decides to hide in the tunnels and smashes Mr. Four with his 5-ton hammer, knocking him out, which is a feint on Usopp's part. Miss Merry Christmas gets chased with the hammer until Mr. Four wakes up and the Baroque Works agents realize the hammer was a fake. So they launch a barrage of baseballs. Chopper takes a rumble ball and weathers the blast as he starts working on a plan while Miss Merry Christmas chases Usopp and shows she is able to burrow even through buildings, grabs Usopp's feet and starts dragging him through buildings, forcing his body to break through the stone. Usopp tries to run and gets grabbed again, despite Chopper protesting. And she then insults Luffy by calling him pathetic and saying that he died, and Usopp refuses to believe her and stops running as they all laugh at Luffy and his dreams. So Miss Merry Christmas starts dragging Usopp again and pulls him into Mr. Four's 4-ton bat. Usopp still gets back up because he has to defend his friend's dream. So so they come up with a plan. Chopper transforms into Chopper transforms into his horn point form. Usopp, Usopp shoots a smoke screen, jumps out of his shoes. Chopper pulls Miss Merry Christmas up from the ground. Usopp pretends to be Miss Merry Christmas to order Mr. Four to smash. So she gets smashed, and then Usopp shoots Mr. Four in the head with a hammer that knocks out Mr. Four and Lasso, defeating them. And then Chopper has to frantically start working to save Usopp, who's almost dead from all of the injuries that he has gotten. It's so fucking good. I cry at this scene. Because Usopp's ready to surrender. Usopp's ready to give up until his friend's dreams are insulted. And it's beautiful. I've got another. I've got tears. I've got tears, Janine.
Yeah, what makes him brave is not having to defend himself, but he would put his life on the lines for his friends, and that is what ultimately helps make him into a brave warrior of the sea.
Mm-hmm. Also, he said that he defeated a mole monster in like the early episodes.
Ooh.
It's another Usopp prediction. But yeah, it is such a great fight because you get to see a bit of everybody, and it sets up it continues the wonderful tradition of Usopp having to be brave to defend his friend's dreams.
Yeah, and to find a way to be able to outsmart people who can clearly have every right just to kill him on sight.
Mm-hmm. Like Usopp ends up the worst in this battle out of anybody. I love Usopp. Like I'm pretty sure, yeah, he is my favorite member of the Straw Hats crew.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. I love a guy who believes in his dreams and believes in his friends and will fight for him. Sanji and Mr. Two are fighting and are evenly matched in their kicks as they fight one another, crashing through buildings. Mr. Two decides to make a copy montage to make the most ridiculous face, which is his own face with a different nose, which has no effect on Sanji. He then transforms into Usopp, thinking that Sanji won't attack his own friends, but Sanji kicks him without hesitation. But when Mr. Two turns his body into Nami's, he easily just reads that Sanji is too horny to fight. Sanji starts getting the shit kicked out of him until he realizes that Mr. Two can only kick him in his own form because Nami's legs are too short and Sanji is able to turn the tables again. Mr. Two then switches to another move that allows him to direct his entire force of a kick into a single point, and Sanji starts taking hits because Mr. Two has his longer reach. Until Sanji realizes he can work on avoiding the blows and then hit Mr. Two while he has to recover. The two start parrying kicks again, with both of them becoming heavily injured. As they go for one last blow, Sanji is able to knock Mr. Two down, and Mr. Two congratulates Sanji and asks him to kill him. Instead, Sanji offers him congratulations on a good fight before taking back Usopp's goggles and knocking him out. Sanji then meets up with Usopp, Chopper, and Eyelash and returns the now broken goggles, while the remaining mass of the rebel army approaches. Just, it's a damn good fight.
I personally ship it.
Sanji and Mr. Two?
I can see it working with their respect and rivalry with each other, but also they clash a little bit because they got different styles.
Potentially. Potentially. I feel like the bigger problem is Sanji just would never truly accept a relationship with Mr. Two, being that it's just a form that he can take.
I don't see it lasting long.
Fair. No, you could probably do some fix where they just meet up and Sanji cooks a nice romantic meal for the two of them as they share stories and then, oh no, the hotel room that they booked only has one bed. And Mr. Two feels honor bound to pay Sanji back for a meal.
Set sail for One Piece. It's the name of the treasure.
In the Grand Line, Zoro loses track of Nami, who is being tracked down by Mr. One and Miss Doublefinger, who ends up accidentally finding her as she hides. Mr. One is revealed to have eaten the dice fruit, which turns his body into blades. We find out that Baroque Works knew about Zoro, since he took down Mr. Seven when Baroque Works tried to recruit him. Zoro didn't want to work with them because he would not be allowed to be the boss. Nami runs away, taking a moment to reflect, and remembers how she had asked Usopp to build her a weapon because she was too weak to defeat enemies, and he agreed, making her the Climatact, a staff that comes in 3 pieces. She then gets speared by Miss Doublefinger, who has the power to grow spikes because of her spike fruit. Unfortunately, the weapon keeps producing party tricks like summoning doves and flowers. Nami starts to read the instructions, which noted that it was mostly party tricks, as Miss Doublefinger chases her as a spiky ball of death. But Nami is able to dodge her momentarily before finding the battle configuration sections, which allow her to summon hot air, cool air, and electricity, but the attacks are not complete. Miss Doublefinger chases after her again before Nami knocks her back, realizing that she can use the 3 powers to actually create weather patterns. Miss Doublefinger spears Nami with her spikes, going through her head, but it was only a mirage, and Nami starts adding moisture to the air before adding hot and cold air, while Miss Doublefinger continues attacking. Nami finally forms a massive cloud and launches an electric ball into her, electrocuting Miss Doublefinger. But she still gets skewered by spikes but she fights through the pain for Princess Vivi, and then summons a tornado with the Climatact, which releases 2 mechanical birds that bind themselves around Miss Doublefinger's limbs and then launch her through a building, defeating her. It's a horny battle, Janine.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I would not have guessed that Miss Doublefinger's power, with her curly hair, would have been spikes.
Spikes. Or her like spider motif.
Right.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Also, 4Kids really just had to edit a lot of this battle. Just having,
Amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
both for wardrobe malfunctions and also Nami literally getting speared through with massive spikes.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Zoro faces off with Mr. One and he realizes he needs to learn to cut steel to be able to cut through Mr. One and releases a bunch of attacks without being able to leave a mark. Mr. One's attacks have Zoro on the ropes, and Zoro reflects on his sensei's lesson that there are swordsmen who can cut anything and nothing, and a true swordsman must be able to do both. Zoro didn't understand it as a child and still doesn't get it as an adult, which is great. Mr. One turns his arms into spinning blades, slices Zoro up, and ends up trying to bury him under rubble, but Zoro rises again to defend his friends. Having lost 2 of his swords in the rubble, he suddenly realizes that he can hear the rhythm of everything and is able to control how he cuts and is able to slice through Mr. One, defeating him.
It makes anime logic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you have to cut like nothing but the thing you want to cut.
Mm-hmm. You have to be able to control what you do with the tools that you wield.
It makes anime sense because like you can't literally learn that swinging a sword But yet he learned that literally swinging a sword.
He's a himbo.
You, you got me there. You fucking got me there.
Mm-hmm. Got him. Elsewhere, Koza plans to head to the castle to get Cobra to surrender despite the dangers, while Vivi makes her way back to the palace as well. She wants to destroy the palace, which will stop everyone from fighting, but Chaka isn't willing to do it until he remembers what King Cobra told him, which are the people make up the country, and he agrees to it. But when they go to light the explosives, Crocodile appears, blows out the flames, and he has brought along Miss All Sunday and Cobra with him. And he declares that he has killed Luffy, which Vivi refuses to believe. Miss Sunday blocks the doors to the palace by growing hands from it, pushing the guards down the stairs, while Crocodile nails Cobra to the door and asks where the Pluton is. He plans to take over the kingdom and use the Pluton to solidify his power with the world government, and he reveals that he plans to fire a bomb into the square where everyone is fighting that will explode within a 5-kilometer radius, ending the fight so he can collect everything and take over the country without opposition. What a great evil plan!
It's amazing how I can be able to be surprised by this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, well, of course, like, he doesn't have any use for the rebel army or the royal guard. He's
Mm-hmm.
playing both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, of course, he doesn't want either one of them to actually win if he wants to take over the place. Why didn't I think he was going to kill
Kill everyone.
everybody? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God. Like, Crocodile knows how to do a damn good plan. He's evil, but damn good plan. Oh, yeah. Uh, was it hard to stop watching?
A little bit. But I did the thing where I actually did not watch any of the episodes until now in order so I could be able to have everything fresh in my mind. I'm going to be trying a new thing, and I'm going to be watching everything as soon as I can. A little bit inspired by this, a little bit because I want to see if I can be able to retain knowledge. I don't know. I'm experimenting. I like experiments. We're getting to learn about me and the podcast together.
I'm glad the show can help you learn about yourself, my friend.
Like that I'm gay.
Congratulations, Janine. You earned it.
Thank you. I can be gay as a
As a treat.
reward, as a treat. I could
Oh.
have one gay, not
Mhm.
anymore because it goes straight to a
Your
place.
thighs.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, next episode, we are going to be wrapping up the majority of Alabasta, so shit's going to get even more real. It's it. I'm I'm excited, and I just can't hide it. But we have one character to match
We have
tonight.
we do however, we do have uncharacteristically good number of suggestions that were given to us
Mm-hmm.
from viewers like you.
Yes. So I have 4 different suggestions for Lasso. How many do you have this week?
I have one, but I'm going to argue it hard.
Okay. We also have 4 different suggestions from our fans who are trying to also angle for a spot. One of my ideas is the one that I want to argue for the most, but I wanted to go hard for it. So let's go with those fan suggestions first. How about that?
Sure.
So, reigning champ Atticus suggested Shotgun Pete from Shotgun Pete's Wedding Chapel. Uh, Rodrigo, the titular creator of Rodrigo Style, suggested Laddie. Kit
Ooh.
Kat, hello, welcome to your first submission, suggested Doggo War just for the naming. And that welder guy or that one welder guy who is one of the members of the Discord, suggested the shifty looking dog from Beyond Blunderdome. Now, I'm going to go through my bad suggestions and end up with the best one that I have. My Rodrigo style one is Mr. Jingles, who is the Michael Clark Duncan type's mouse that he has. Just because, that's Rodrigo style. It should be some sort of animal that a large person has a emotional connection to.
I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
Next suggestion.
The Remington Model 1858 New Army Revolver, aka the gun that shot Mr. Burns.
Oh my god.
Are you ready for my next suggestion?
Not really, but just tell me it anyway.
The makeup gun that Homer invents.
Oh my god.
It's a gun turned into a dog, Janine. Oh,
Oh wow. I did not go that direction with it and I regret it.
oh, Janine. We're now at my good one. Do you want to get? I want to hear yours first before I go and put my good one up against it.
Okay. God, it's so fucking stupid now.
Mm-hmm.
How am I gonna go up against those? It's the dog with the puffy tail that we meet after we see Guy Incognito, Homer's perfect double,
Mm-hmm.
whose name might be Puff. It's
Here, Puff.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Are you ready for my good one?
Sure, yeah.
I remembered the day he bagged his first hippie. That young man didn't think it was too groovy. My suggestion is Crippler. That is Burns's retired dog that gets replaced with Santa's little helper in Dog of Death when the Simpsons kick out Santa's little helper. Crippler is a very old, tired, and sickly looking dog. Lasso, not in great health,
Oh
actively
my
abetting evil people.
wow. God. This is tough. Okay, number one, right off the bat, I'm looking at the guns. I'm sorry, everybody who sent things in. You have great suggestions. Shotgun Pete on name alone is like dear to my heart, but
I
also
mean,
that
also Doggo War.
Doggo War. I feel like Doggo War probably would have gotten it for me just because of how much it succinctly like keeps everything up, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just drawn to the guns because I think that again I was thinking about this. I was thinking, why does a buzzard and an otter get to have names and ranks, and Lasso is just like a part of this duo, making it effectively a trio. And then I was thinking too hard on it because I was thinking about the the Lasso as a dog, and Lasso as a dog has not existed for as long as Lasso existed as a gun. The reason why Lasso is not named and like paired off with somebody else is because Lasso's a gun.
He's a pet. He is a Type D creature, a small savage.
He's an object.
I mean, his status is alive.
Alive by what means? Animated, sure.
He can think.
Alive, being
Janine,
able to think and being able to perceive and having sentience does not give you life.
what if he has a dream?
Does that thing look like it has dreams?
Yes, he does, Janine. Because uh, I've got Baroque facts coming up after, and I'm going to have you guess some characters' dreams. But
Oh
I
my
will tell you
god.
right now, Lasso has a dream.
Oh my god. Okay, Lasso has a soul. But
Mm-hmm.
why does Lasso then it's a travesty then that Lasso does not have a name then.
Lasso does have a name. Lasso's name is Lasso
Of course Lasso's name's Lasso, but Lasso does not have like a Baroque Works name.
because he is a gun that turned into a dog. I mean, it's kind of hard to disguise a gun dog.
There's a buzzard
Mm-hmm.
and an otter. And
But neither of them have real names that are, at least, that are revealed.
set sail for One Piece.
Mm-hmm. I'm still really behind Crippler. Also, because I don't want to, like, I feel like we have to pick Miss Groundhog, or we have to, like, find something with Miss Merry Christmas and Mr. Four for the cover. And I don't want to have to send an email to Mike and be like, hey, uh, Lasso is the gun that shot Mr. Burns.
I cannot tell you how much I want to make it the gun that shot Mr. Burns.
Mm-hmm.
For the fact that I am afraid that this podcast might not go long enough for us to meet another gun character.
I mean, it's not Chainsaw Man.
Or Digimon. Do you know how many motherfuckers in that thing have guns sticking out of them?
Or Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh my god, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Battleship Dragons.
Mm-hmm. Um. So I'm going to do the dumb thing and argue against myself. The gun that shot Mr. Burns and the makeup gun are not actually characters in The Simpsons. They are listed as objects.
I almost feel like, on principle,
Mm-hmm.
I need to choose a gun.
Mm-hmm.
It was a suggestion, written down and presented.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's one thing that I have learned, is that you should not make suggestions of things that you're
Oh
not
yeah,
prepared to use,
yeah.
because
Don't.
I would have loved it if you stopped me and I was able to use Poochie on this one. Poochie would have been perfect, but apparently you just let me just have that one for Chopper.
You fought for him for no. He was a compromise. He was a compromise, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Wait till we get to Lord Dogstorm, and then you'll be really upset. But that I think by that point we'll have an extra Poochie we can use somehow.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit afraid to watch the newer Simpsons episodes as this thing goes because um I fell off kind of near this era
Mm-hmm.
as Animation Sundays like started to overlap with Adult Swim programming, which was happening about the same time.
Mm-hmm.
What if we use another picture and we don't have to use the gun that shot Mr. Burns shooting a baseball?
I mean, okay, I'm I'll actually be willing to work with uh, the gun that shot Mr. Burns. I think Crippler better fits what we are looking for, and I feel like Mike is going to be like, "What?" Uh, when we get this into him.
I wow. You know, if there ever would have been a time that we could have like the artist on the show for their opinion, I
Mm-hmm.
think this episode would have been a thing. What if we just have it at a dead draw between Crippler and the gun that shot Mr. Burns and see what he does with it? Out of
Uh,
kindness,
mm-hmm.
and both of us will get a tie.
I mean, I suggested both of those.
Fine, you get the point, but ultimately, between the two, has to be decided by the person who's gonna have to draw whatever the fuck happens. It's the
Okay,
only time we do it. It's near the holidays.
and holidays are a time for magic. Also, Janine, because you said as a nice thing, you did stop me from posting an image into the Discord that would have made you frustrated. So I'll do that after the recording. But yeah, also, you said you wanted the ability to reopen adjudication on Miss Merry Christmas to see if you were still fine sticking with Lucille Botskowski.
Oh. You know, after seeing Momo,
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, actually, like a lot more. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like being able to know the character a little bit more and how they interact inside the story instead of like just against each other bouncing around inside of a bar that they destroy and then promptly leave.
A cafe. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
fair. All right, so Lucille Botskowski is sworn in as our Miss Merry Christmas, and the either Remington Model 1858 New Army Revolver, aka the gun that shot Mr. Burns, or Crippler will be our lasso. That will be up to Mike P.
We
All
make
right,
up new rules for this thing all the time, but it never stops being a fun game.
Janine, that's what pirates do. I'm pretty sure. And you know what else pirates do?
What do pirates do?
They play our new game show, Baroque Facts. Initially, I thought this was going to be a much shorter episode, but we did a lot of shenanigans. But we're going to still do some Baroque Facts. All right. So
All right.
do you have the slide that I sent you as a nice cheat sheet?
Amazing. There it is.
All right. So I have provided Janine with a wonderful list of our 19 Baroque Works members. I included the dead Mr. Seven, rest in peace, who Oda just had in one of the question segments. R.I.P. Mr. Seven. He probably would have gotten his ass kicked by Zoro.
Very likely.
But next to these, if we know their character name or their real name, I have that included. And there are question marks for four different segments. There's RN for real name, there's BD for birthday, there's DR for their dream, and there's FF for their favorite food. If there is an X, that means that it is something that is not known or not applicable. If there is a check, that means we know it. So we know Mr. Zero's name is Sir Crocodile, and we know Miss All Sunday's name is Nika Robin, for example. So we also know that Miss Wednesday, Nefertari Vivi, and Mr. 8 Igaram are also on here. So I'm going to give you a clue of either a real name, birthday, dream, or favorite food, and you've got to figure out who I am a talking about. How's that
Sure.
sound?
Yeah.
The dreams come from a cover segment that is never actually adapted into the anime, which is wild. So, also, Mr. Seven is not applicable for any of these because we never know his real name, birthday, dream, or favorite food. So, up first, this person's dream is to be a superhero.
Wow. Um. Damn. Miss Valentine's Day.
That would be incorrect. Miss Valentine's Day's dream is to be a chocolatier.
I can see that.
It is Mr. One's dream to be a superhero.
Huh. I would have never guessed.
Mhm. This character's real name is Babe.
Miss Doublefinger.
No, Babe's Babe is the real name of Mr. Four, much like Babe Ruth. Miss Doublefinger's real
Oh.
name is Zala.
Whoa. Okay.
So you're kind of like picking up a bit more on how this works.
A little bit, but also it's kind of like still not something I can be able to revere for, you know.
Uh huh. Uh huh. This character's birthday is on March 3rd.
Mr. 3?
Correct.
Born on 3/3.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They just put a bunch of thought into some of these. This character's favorite food is octopus parfait and kamaricha tea. Who loves some octopar?
Miss Golden Week.
That would be Mr. Two Bon Clay.
Damn.
One of those first things that he says when going to Spider's Cafe is he wants some octopar. Miss Golden Week's favorite food is sinbai and green tea.
That makes sense. God damn.
Mm-hmm. This character's birthday is December 25th.
Um, Miss Merry Christmas?
Correct.
Okay, so their names make a little bit more sense if it ends up like that.
This character's birthday is on February 6th.
Miss Monday.
Miss Monday's birthday is on January 24th. Nico Robin's birthday is on February 6th. The first two syllables of the name, knee and row, come out as 2 and 6.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. This character's dream is to become Pirate King.
Oh. Oh. Mr. Zero.
Correct. This character's favorite food is crocodile meat and tomatoes.
Is it also Mr. Zero?
Yes, it is. This character's favorite food is gunpowder tea, fine gunpowder, and kayaku gohan.
Mr. Five.
That is correct. This character's real name is Jim. And that's G-E-M, not the outrageous, simply outrageous J-E-M spelling.
Miss Goldwink.
Nope. That is Mr. Five's real name.
Wow.
Miss Goldenweek's real name is Marianne.
Adorable.
Mm-hmm. This character's dream is to become a firefighter.
Mr. Four.
No, his dream is to become a pizza delivery boy.
A little low there, but okay.
Oh, yeah. He has a 30 hours or less delivery promise. It is Mr. Five's dream to become a firefighter.
Huh. Okay.
Yes. Uh, it is a fun game of bullshit. This character's real name is Galadino.
Who do I have left?
You currently have Mr. 1, Mr. 2 Bon Clay, Mr. 3, Miss Merry Christmas, Miss Valentine's Day, Miss, uh, yeah, just those ones.
Mr. Tubon Clay.
No. Galadino is the real name of Mr. 3. Mr. 2, Von Clay's real name is Bentham.
Huh. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, I think the last we have the last real names for Mr. 1 and Miss Merry Christmas. Which one of them have the real name of Drawfee?
Oh. Miss Merry Christmas.
That is correct. Mr. 1's real name is Dazbones.
Sure, just rolls right off the tongue on that one, I guess.
Mm-hmm. This character's dream is to be a princess.
Oh. Miss Doublefinger.
No, her dream is to become Paula the cafe owner again.
Oh.
Miss Merry Christmas wants to be a princess.
Oh.
All right, and then we'll just do one more. This character's favorite food is lemon tea and chocolate.
Mr. 3?
Mr. Three's favorite food is Earl Grey black tea and cookies dipped in tea. Miss Valentine's Day loves lemon tea and chocolate.
She wants to be a chocolatier. Ah.
It builds up. Like, Babe's favorite food is apple tea and pizza. Oh, I mentioned Lasso has a dream. Lasso wants to be a tank.
Oh my god.
Got him.
I'm just amazed that Lasso's dream is to become more gun and not more dog. Like, that's a dream a gun would have.
Oh, the darkest Toy Story.
I guess. Jesus.
I think there's a gun in me. All right. So, I hope you enjoyed that fun game of Baroque Facts. If anyone playing at home similarly did well, congratulations. Janine, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 correct, which, considering that most of this is bullshit, is very good.
If y'all were able to do better than me by guessing, hey, thumbs up. And if you knew the answers all along, you are Luke, because I don't think anybody else could have retained that much.
I haven't even retained most of it. I literally just put a note together.
Oh, by the way, there is one other thing that I wanted to say. Last time I called for people that are on Twitter to come up with a weird way to describe what our podcast is.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
And we actually do have a suggestion from at KitKatHime.
Hell yeah.
Birthday is actually tomorrow, I believe. We were supposed to record tomorrow, and I was gonna say, hey, I'll give you a birthday shout out, and then like it kind of like ended up weird. But still, happy birthday.
Happy belated birthday.
Or future birthday when we're recording it. Belated birthday when you're listening to it. Time is weird. Here's the tweet. Since y'all asked for terrible ways to describe the podcast, you know, sometimes someone tells you to combine two foods and you think there's no way that these two will be good together, but it's actually really good. That's basically what DohMance Dawn is.
We're like flavors on the Great British Baking Show that British people aren't generally familiar with. Pretty good.
Okay. I thought you were gonna go for like describing like two different weird things, but way to both like bring that together and also right I guess take a shot at British food.
Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie.
We're like orange and chocolate. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
We're like peanut butter and honey. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
We're like octopus and parfait. Pretty good.
I'll get back to you on that one, I guess, because I've been wrong about so many things just in this podcast.
Do you think that Mr. Tupon Clay would be wrong about octopus parfait?
See, that's the thing now. Like I kind of question myself, especially since how much I have projected all of my own weird
Hey,
shit like
mhm.
onto Mr. Tubon Clay for being queer representation, and now I'm thinking like how much of that reflection that I purposely made on there for myself to make myself feel better is something that can be able to be reflected back at me. What if I myself like octopus parfait? You can't knock it until you try it, and you can't try it until
You
I
find a
don't
place that sells Octopar?
I guess I don't know. I like off the top of my head, it just seems like the weirdest thing to even think about, but also not completely inaccessible. I do live in Austin, so like it's still a possibility.
Well, if people wanted to tell you where you can find an octopus parfait in Austin, where can they do that online, Janine? While Twitter still exists.
While Twitter still exists, you can be able to find me online at Janine Juliet and also on various Luke Hair production podcasts. Um, I will share Mastodon. I guess people are going to now. Um, I'm pretty sure like my Twitter like pin tweet pretty soon is gonna change just to like where you can find me going forward once I complete that. But I don't see myself being on there for long. You know what? If you're watching this live, you'll know.
Yeah, and I mean, if Twitter is still existing within a month in any sort of usable form, I will be happy and surprised. But yeah, we have a Discord, which I will find a better way of sharing that. You can find updates on our website, which is at DohManceDawn.com, and I'll probably put a link there as well.
It takes you to Tumblr. We're already there. If you're migrating back,
Welcome back. You are
welcome
on the
back.
cruise. You can currently find me on Twitter and in many other places as at Coltreg, that's KOLTREG, or at Lukeherr, LUKEHERR.com. I also have a Gumroad where you can just get a bunch of comics that I've written. You don't even have to pay for most of them. Like, it's all pay what you want. My birthday is coming up. Really, if you want to do something nice for me, just like read some of my comics and give me some good reviews. But yeah, DohMance Dawn, we record every 2 weeks, and Mike P, who is currently on Twitter at Patent Pending and is also on Instagram under the same name, is doing our lovely covers. And
And
yeah,
ultimately deciding today's pick.
yeah, I will give Mike the good news, and we'll either unveil that in the episode cover or somewhere else. But yeah, that's all for this week. Thank you for listening. Next week, uh, Luffy's body gets filled with deadly poison. Smooth sailing, friends.
I mean, you gotta put your deadly poison somewhere, right?
I mean, if you're not going to put it inside someone, you can just use it to flavor a big old bottle of brother juice.
What? That you were just trying to figure out a way to say brother juice. Just a weird curse that hangs upon me. This podcast.
This podcast is the real devil fruit.